So in this video, I'm going to cover the reality of scaling a D2C e-commerce store past 100k euros per month profitably. This video is going to cover everything. So if you cannot stick through and watch this 45-minute to 1 hour masterclass that this video is going to be, then it's going to be very tough for you to scale your e-commerce store. Then I don't think that you want it enough. In this video, I'm going to cover everything from A to Z, and it is exactly what you need to scale your e-commerce store past 100, 200, 300, even 400,000 euros in monthly revenue. So who am I? My name is Emil, and I am the founder of Profita, which is a digital marketing agency where we help e-commerce stores scale to 250,000 euros in monthly revenue. And we have done that the last 4 years in Europe. So what I'm going to talk about today is all of my own experiences. I have taught this myself. I have learned it all myself. And this is not some other people learnings. This is my own learnings that I have spent 4 years gathering. So you're very, very lucky that you even get to watch this. So this will be for you who are generating approximately 20, 30, 40,000 euros per month, and you want to scale your store into that next level. If you're not doing these numbers already, then this video is going to be too technical for you. This video will be on a quite technical level. It's going to be for those people who are seriously looking to scale their business and who want to know the exact path to 100k plus per month. So I'm just going to assume that you have product market fit and that you know exactly what it is that you're doing with your store already. So jumping into this document, this presentation that I have right here, we have some screenshots from some of the clients that we have been working with. This client we've been working with for the past 12 months, and we've helped them generate more than 1.8 million euros in revenue these past 12 months. And especially ever since December, January, whatever, we've severely scaled this client, where in January they were doing 3 million NOK, which is approximately 250,000 euros in revenue. Then there's this fitness brand that we've been working with ever since January approximately, and it took us some time to scale, and now we're finally getting past like that 150, 160k mark in pounds, so right around 180, I think 200,000 euros, something like that. And then there's this client that we also started working with that we have generated 1.7 million NOK in the last 90 days. And it is especially here in April that we have generated the vast majority of these numbers, where we've generated more than 1 million NOK, which is equivalent to right around 80,000 euros. So what I'm going to show you today, first and foremost, starts with a very, very competitive mindset. You need to be competitive. You need to understand that e-commerce is extremely competitive. It is driven by those people who want to be the best and who want to improve their store or their business so much that they crush the competition. You're not just playing to win, you're playing to dominate your industry. That's how it is. So possessing this quality right here is very, very important when you're trying to scale your e-commerce store. The days where you could just create a store and you could kind of just make a living out of it and not really think more of it is over. Like, there are people or there are businesses that are out there to make you go out of market, who are going to swallow your business if you don't think about being competitive in all metrics. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that the number one skill that you want to build throughout your e-commerce journey is judgment. And this only comes from having tried lots of different things, but also having the ability to sit down and prioritize the right things in your business. This is something that obviously takes experience. It takes years of hard work to build up your judgment. But this is another very, very important facet of being able to scale an e-commerce store. So if I didn't already cover this, my name is Emil, and I am the founder of Profita, which is a growth agency located here in Dubai, where we help e-commerce stores scale past 250,000 euros in monthly revenue. And if you're seriously looking to scale your business and you want my take on your business, your current digital marketing strategy, and your digital appearance, then you can schedule a free growth evaluation in the description of this video, and I will personally reach out to you. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So what we're going to look at here in this video is going to be 5 cornerstones that you have to get rid of in order to scale. And you have to stick through this entire video to truly understand them, because each and every one of these cornerstones, they play into each other. So you really have to sit down, you have to analyze what it is that I'm saying so that you truly understand each and every step that goes into this. Because if you skip to step 4 or step 5, then you're going to be lost. So The first thing is that you cannot be ignorant, and you cannot be lazy, you cannot be broad, you cannot be a dabbler, and you cannot be neglecting. These 5 elements is something that you cannot be as an e-commerce owner who are looking to scale past 100, 200, 300,000 euros in monthly revenue. And what I mean by that is what I'm going to show you here. You cannot be ignorant with your numbers. There's going to be 4 foundational pillars to your e-commerce store. The first one is cost of goods sold. The second one is cost per acquisition. The third is average order value, and lifetime value is the fourth one. These 4 metrics are the cornerstone of your e-commerce. I cannot say this enough. And this is kind of the 4 quadrants that you have to think in terms of when you're trying to scale your business. Cost of goods sold. How much are you paying for the product, and how much are you then selling the product for? That is essentially like what you have to factor in here. Then there's cost per acquisition. How much are you paying to acquire a new customer? This is a very important metric, especially if you're operating a business that, can sustain retention. Then there's average order value. How much money are you generating on average when you're generating a sale? This is a very, very important metric. And these 2 things right here are something that, actually split the waters kind of a lot in the marketing industry right now, because so many people are focused on cost per acquisition that they completely neglect their average order value. And I can assure you that there are strategies that are far more potent when it comes to increasing the average order value than decreasing the cost per acquisition, which I'm going to show you. Lastly, there's the lifetime value. How much is a customer worth to you on a 90, 100, and 365-day basis? Personally, we look much into like 60 and 90 days lifetime value or average order value over the span of 60 and 90 days, because this becomes more predictable and it becomes more sustainable for most of you watching this video right here. It's very, very difficult for a business to operate on a customer lifetime value 1 year ahead of time, because it's quite frankly not sustainable for cash flow purposes. On this exact topic, we have a KPI calculator like this. I have made an entire video of this KPI calculator, which you can go ahead and watch. I'm not going to go too much in depth with this KPI calculator as a whole. Just know that this is the foundation to creating or setting your KPIs, where you're going to go into like your break-even targets. You're going to go into your NCCPA targets, like ROAS and cost per acquisition. This is very, very important for you to know in order for you to optimize your digital marketing based on the numbers that you're generating from those. So this is the first step, setting the right KPIs. You cannot be ignorant around that. You need to know your numbers, and you need to fully understand what your numbers mean on a 60 and 90-day basis. This KPI calculator will help you do that. The second point is the architect's blueprint. And what I mean by that, just like you wouldn't build a skyscraper without a blueprint, so would you build or scale a brand without having done research. Research on your customers, research on your ICP, research on the market stage, research on like the awareness stages in the market, research on the sophistication level of the market. This is very, very important, because this is going to as well, this is going to be the foundation for when you are trying to create theses that you can go ahead and create ads for. So as well as that, I'm going to get to that later in this video. So stick through watching this part of the video. You want to do your research, and you want to do your research in Facebook groups. Could be Facebook groups that contains the people that you really want to speak to with your product. Up here, you can see that I have this fish oil product here. Let's say that you're selling fish oil. Well, you most likely want to get into Facebook groups that are around some sort of active lifestyle, some sort of like health Facebook groups, where you can really get to understand how it is that your audience speaks. Like, what are the words that they use? What phrases do they use? And really gather all of this information so that you can start using the same language in your ads. There's also Reddit groups. There is customer reviews on Amazon or eBay and whatnot. These reviews are going to reveal so much about the exact problems, the pains that your audience has. And this is something that you can then start to tailor your content with. At the end of the day, what this architect's blueprint, like your research that you're doing, what this sets the foundation for is that you're going to be able to communicate very, very, very effectively to your audience and create that trust because you understand what it is that they're facing, like the problems that they're facing. Based on this research, this is where you start to really identify what is your value proposition going to be. What is your main value proposition? Why do people buy from you? And what is your secondary value proposition? And then you want to clearly differentiate yourself from that of the competition. You're going to have to think about what your claim to fame is going to be. Like, what is the mission statement or the claim to fame for your brand? Why does your customers choose you? There's so many different options out there probably in the market that you're operating in. So why does the customers choose you over that of the competition? Is it that you are more authentic, more trustworthy, or is it that you have some sort of different feature in your product? What is it that drives customers to you rather than that of the competition? And lastly, or not lastly, but what are the most important payoffs when they're buying from you? Is it that, your price is different, or you have like some sort of a guarantee in your offer? What is the important payoffs when they are buying from you? Could be many different things. And lastly, what shall the customers know us for? Personally, what we advise most of our clients to be here is just, we want to be known for being very, very authentic and trustworthy. We can be that if we can reflect that to our customers, then we know that we're going to perform really well, knowing that we have product market fit and we understand the products that we're selling, something that people really want. We have a good product. This leaves you with the 5W analysis. This is where you start to identify the personas that you're trying to speak to. You want to identify who your primary persona is going to be and who your secondary persona is going to be. So who are we speaking to? What is it that they buy? People buy different things. People may buy from the same product. They might buy, let's say again, if we take the fish oil example, here they could be buying cognitive performance. They could also be buying cardiovascular health. They could also be buying better memory. They could also be buying skin health, as these are the direct benefits from taking fish oils, omega-3. People are buying different things, but your primary persona are buying a specific thing. And here, why do they buy? What is the emotion or the desire behind their purchase? That's very important. Why do they buy from a functionality point of view? Is it that, okay, again, this is going to be a bad example, but for fish oils, let's say that your fish oils, they were capsules, but the competition, they were selling powder. Then they're buying the capsules because they're easier to consume than it is with powder. And why don't they buy? What are the objections? Oh, they have tried so many different fish oil brands before, but is there something like, how can you objection handle on that? Like, they have bought many different fish oils before, so why is your fish oil different to that of the competition? And lastly, how will we direct our comms to each persona? How will we speak directly to that persona? That is something that you can only identify if you do your research properly. But this is what sets the foundation for how you're going to create content. Just like I said in the beginning, you cannot skip past this part of the process, because it sets the foundation for how you're going to speak to your audience. So again, I've actually created like a whole video on this exact thing. Like, how do we go ahead and produce or conduct research for our clients? It is inside this video right here. And I encourage you to watch it, but watch it after this video because there's more to this. So a book that I actually read on this specific thing about understanding awareness stages and understanding sophistication levels, which is very, very fundamental to creating successful ad campaigns, is breakthrough advertising. Breakthrough advertising was written back in like 1960 and is very, very foundational. But I encourage you to go ahead and read this book because it's going to give you really, really, really good foundational knowledge as to how you're going to successfully advertise in 2025 even, because it's so foundational. But here, when you're advertising, there are 5 or awareness stages that you want to think in terms of when you're trying to communicate effectively to your audience. There is the unaware, the problem-aware audience. There's the solution-aware audience, the product-aware, and the most aware. And when you're trying to scale your e-commerce store, you need to identify that these people that are in these different awareness stages, they need different forms of communication, and they need a different way of being talked to. They need to be presented different information. Someone who is unaware that they have a problem could not be spoken to the same way as someone who's product aware, someone who understands the product that you're offering and the benefits that are linked to your product. Here, you really have to identify how it is that you're going to talk to each and every awareness stage so that you can get the most out of your advertising. And this may seem like super technical, and it may seem like, oh, is this even necessary? I'm just going to do an ad on Facebook and Instagram. Well, I can tell you that it is, because this is what the best brands are doing. And this is what's going to set you apart from the competition, because just like this step is called don't be lazy, it's exactly what most people are. They are fucking lazy. They're lazy to do the groundwork, and that is what you need to do if you're seriously looking to scale your business. This is not a masterclass on how you can just get away by doing bare minimum. This is a masterclass on how you can do everything in your power so you can seriously crush your competition and you play to dominate, not just win. And this also speaks into the 5 levels of market sophistication there is. Most markets nowadays are sitting here around level 3 and beyond. So you really want to think in terms of this, again, when you're trying to scale your brand. So level 3 here, this is where, in order to scale in this type of market, this is where you want to start introducing a different mechanism that offers a logical reason why your claim is achievable. It could be that, let's say, again, you are selling fish oils, and now there's a different mechanism that allows for your fish oil to be better than that of the competition. Let's say that this mechanism was that if there was a faster way of digesting this fish oil compared to the others, and it allowed you to absorb more fish oil than that of the competition. This would be a very, very good mechanism to start introducing to the market. Level 4, create a better mechanism or an upgraded version of the previous mechanism. I don't know, maybe lastly in level 3, the absorption was faster, but now the absorption goes from 60% to 90% of the omega-3 that is in the fish oil. Now, this is an even better claim than those businesses who are still operating with the previous mechanism. So this allows you to, again, scale in this market. And then there's level 5. The level 5 is where skepticism is at its maximum. And this is something that you can only really combat through authenticity and through trustworthiness. So that's why we're building most of our, or advising most of our clients to be very, very authentic and trustworthy in their content. Like, don't try and sell shit. Like, be as authentic and trustworthy as you possibly can. Because, as I said, most markets are really operating in like level 3 to level 5 stages. And I would argue that many markets are within like level 5 sophistication level. Now, thirdly, you cannot be broad. You might have heard now that you have to go really broad. You have to let the algorithm run the show. And while that is true on like a platform level, there are things that you have to take into consideration before you start advertising, so that you are not broad, but you're very, very targeted. You want to find the racehorse in the stable. And what I mean by that is that, let's say that you have 20 products. Out of those 20 products, you're going to see that 1 or 2, 3 perhaps of your products, they are the ones that are driving serious conversion. Not only are they driving serious conversion, but they're also driving a high repurchase rate. People come back for more of this product, or they come back for other products after they have tried this product. You need to find those products that drive a high 90-day average order value compared to its first time order value. So here, this is just me who have extracted some data for one of our clients. But here you can see, like, this is just for a product. There has been 3,117 new customers that have come through this product. It has come with a repurchase rate of anything in the store of 49%. So 40 or 41%. So 41% of those people who bought this product first time, they came back for anything else in the store. And they repurchased the same product 38% of the time. So the first order average order value came in at 741 NOK. So I think right around 70 euros. And after 90 days, the average order value had almost increased by 100%. See here in the 90-day lifetime value. So it increased to 1,370 NOK. This is very, very significant that after some time, you know that you're generating even more money on this purchase. So obviously, these repurchase rates doesn't come for any store. Like this is a supplement store. So obviously people are going to come back and they're going to buy more. So this is especially prominent if you are operating some sort of consumable e-commerce D2C brand where people are coming back to consume the same product. But this could also be an apparel web shop where you're selling fitness apparel or you're selling clothing in general. Like what pieces in your product line are going to drive like the high repurchase rate? You're going to have products that are going to be phenomenal at introducing new people to your brand and to your business. These are the products that you want to advertise with. These are the products that come with a high repurchase rate. So you want to locate those products that are your hero products, and it's going to be 1 to 3 products that do this for you that you are going to focus your efforts on when you're advertising. And this is what you're going to create campaigns for. You're not going to try and advertise with your entire product catalog because that's like throwing a lot of spaghetti on the wall and hoping that it sticks. I didn't want to say the word shit, but now I said it anyway. So don't build a billboard for a broken offer. You've probably heard it 1,000 times now. Test as much as possible. But testing as much as possible, while it is true, it's also something that can be very, very detrimental to your overall cash flow and your ability to remain profitable in your e-commerce business. Because what most e-commerce businesses go out and do now is they create UGC videos, and they cost like 200, maybe even 300 euros a pop for one of these. So this is going to be one video, 3 hooks. Yeah, that's fine. What ends up happening for most businesses is that they then pour money into this. So they pour money into a angle that they have not tested before, and they end up spending like 300 euros or 200, 300 euros in ad spend, maybe even more. Like if this just runs, like maybe even plus 1,000 on an angle that didn't really work that well, then you have spent so much more to figure out this angle than you would have if you had validated your angles first. And this is something that is very important to do. And it's something that you can do rather easily with static ads. So what we like to do is, if we go back to the fish oil example here, and we say, okay, fish oil, what kind of benefits are there to fish oil? Because you would want to know who buys, you would want to know why they buy and why not. This is what you want to know when you are trying to validate your angles, so that you can create different angles and figure out why it is that someone buys or why it is that someone doesn't buy, and try and use that in your angle creation. So what we like to do to test angles is we just create static images that call out the specific angle. Okay, not the most beautiful boxes here, but let's just say we created 8 different statics, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Angle number 2 works really, really well CTR wise. And angle number 7 works really well CTR wise. Then this is now 2 angles that we can go ahead and start producing UGC for. The angles that we're now producing UGC for are much more targeted. Like we have tested them. We know that they were the angles that were performing the best. So instead of just going out and spending money mindlessly on UGC, which can be like a huge hindrance for your ability to scale, we've tested the angles in very, very simple static ads first. It could just be, let's say that you had a product that were solving like knee pains. You could just write knee pains because of running, then this could be an angle. This could, and let's say that it worked really, really well. And the static imagery was, you could just say knee pains, and then in the background there was someone who was running. This would speak to a specific audience, and you would know, like, okay, how would this perform from like a CTR point of view? Or this was just if it was like a product that was solving knee pains. Could also be that it was a product that improved like cognitive performance. So it could be that you had a static ad that were just saying lack of focus, question mark, and then like someone sitting in front of his desk and could barely focus anymore. Something like that. Well, that calls out a specific audience that has a specific problem, and they are interested in knowing more about this. This is a way for you to test more, but not spending more money on the UGC agency who tells you to keep testing, keep testing, keep testing, keep pouring money into this stuff that doesn't even build authenticity or trustworthiness to your brand. UGC works, don't get me wrong, but it's only when you have the right angle that it works. And this can only come through your ability to research your audience, understand how it is that they speak online, what is their pain points, what are they seeking, how have they been burnt before, like what other solutions have they tried but failed with. This is the stuff that you need to understand in order to create new angles that you can try in your advertising. And also, angles is what can win you the market, because there are going to be angles that other brands haven't tried before. And what angles essentially is, and let me not try and ramble too much on this, but angles allows you to test like different parts of the market. So let's say that this circle here just represents the entire market, and you are testing an angle. Now, this angle up here resonates with this part of the entire market, but you have another angle over here, which could be resonating with this part of the market, or another angle that are resonating with this part of the market. You need to test different things in order to scale your e-commerce store in your ads. Now, you can really start to think about advertising. And now you have come to this fourth box, where it says you can't be neglecting a scaling strategy. You need to have a scaling strategy. Here, there is the old way and there is the new way. And a lot of businesses that we speak to very much think in terms of the old way. The old way thinks in terms of ROAS, very, very ROAS fixated. And they don't know their numbers, so that they don't know like what a ROAS is actually worth to them in a 60 or 90-day basis. They just think ROAS here and now, we need a ROAS of 5x, but they don't know what it's worth to them. They think very much in terms of on-platform improvements. While there's a lot of stuff that you can do on platform, it essentially just comes down to content, because everything is broad nowadays. Really comes down to how well do you understand your audience, what content are you creating, and how many different angles are you testing. But there's also, tracking, all that kind of stuff. Setting these sort of things up as well is also very, very important. And they're not thinking about off-platform. They don't think about their business being what they are going to Facebook with, saying, here is my little business, and you're essentially validating me, Meta. Meta validates your business. And Meta, or Google for that matter, favors the businesses that are doing the best. Markets favors the businesses that are doing the best. That's why you need to be competitive. So what you essentially do when you are advertising is that you spend money to get not customers, but feedback. You get to know more about what is it that works, what should we double down on, what do we need to improve. And in that sense, you get to know how you can scale from there. But if we go into the new way of advertising, it's very much AOV dependent, and it is customer acquisition cost dependent, and it is 90-day LTV reliant. AOV is very important for you to scale your business. If you have anything below 60 euro AOV, it's going to be difficult for you to scale, man. Like 60 euro, it's just very difficult, because you need so many new customers come through your door. You need to find a way to boost this bad boy up and get it past like 100 as much as possible, excluding VAT. But CAC, you need to know what is it that you're paying to acquire a new customer. Obviously, granted that your business sells a product that people can come back and buy over and over and over again. If it's clothing, if it is supplements, whatever it is. And then it is 90-day LTV. This is very, very significant actually, because 90-day LTV, when you can start to think outside of just the first purchase, are we profitable on the first purchase, but are we profitable 30, 60, 90 days out in the future? That is really, really, really important. It's really important for you to know your numbers out in the future and have that more predictability in your e-commerce store. And that's something that the KPI calculator that I showed you earlier up here, something that can do and help you with So again, I encourage you to watch that video after this video right here. But these 3 things is the new way of advertising. And if I just try and go in here, there are essentially 2 strategies. When you have done all of the research, you understand your audience, you understand your KPIs, you understand your numbers fully, then there are two strategies here. There's acquisition, there's retention. So if we just start with acquisition, hook people in on your best first-time purchase products. You should not try and advertise with your entire product catalog, because quite frankly, a lot of your products is not going to be interesting to people. There's going to be, like what I said, 1 to 3 products that are really, really interesting to people. Those are the products that have a high repurchase rate. People come back for more of this, or they are so great at introducing the brand to your new customers that they increase the trust in your brand. Like they trust that, okay, I tried your fish oil. Well, that was really good. That gave me really good results. Let me try your magnesium, or let me try your zinc, or let me try your B12, or whatever it is, because I tried this and it worked for me. So you want to find those products that are really good at doing that. And then there are 2 metrics that you want to follow. Follow the blended webshop CAC, what you are paying blended, like all of your marketing cost added together, divided by new customers. That's your blended webshop CAC. And then you want to know what is your average gross profit on your first order. Obviously, you want to be profitable on your first order because you have more expenses. You may have to Shopify or whatever, or an external agency. This sort of stuff, you obviously want to be profitable in the first purchase, but you want to see how much can you push the boundaries and how much do you actually earn back on a 60-day and on a 90-day gross profit LTV. In this case right here, it actually doesn't jump that much. It jumps from 23 to 27 to 28. So that's not really that great. But let's say it jumped from 23 to 35 in 60 days, and in 50 days, it jumped to, let's say, 52. Then you're making so much more money every time you generate a new customer. And that is when you can look into your gross profit LTV blended webshop CAC ratio, where I know that this is a very long word and that it may be a little bit confusing to understand. So let me just try and map it out for you. This metric reveals every time you pour €1 into your and generate a new customer, every time you spend €1, you are generating 2.28 euros back in gross profit on a 180-day interval. This one over here shows on a 90-day. I would highly recommend that you divide these two, that you have a 90-day and you have a 180-day. So in 180-day interval, you want to be within 2 and 2.5 to have a healthy, strong short-term payback and buffer if you start to see that your customer acquisition cost starts to rise, or a 2.5 to a 3 plus is very excellent. It's very profitable. It suggests that there's room to scale your CAC and grow faster. So if your CAC is 20 right now, then maybe you can bump this up to 25, something like that, or maybe even up to 30. The reason why this is important is that you don't want to think about how can we slice our CAC cost down. Like how can we bring this down to, say this was your what you started off with. How can we bring this down to 10? That's not very reasonable. So I'm going to show you in a little bit what you should do instead. But how can we afford this right here? It's the important thing. It's very unreasonable to think that you can just slice that in half. What you should do instead is something that not that many businesses do, but it's very, very important in terms of scaling. And that is AOV boosting. So again, you're this guy that are selling this omega-3 fish oil, and I can buy it right here. And the AOV is 304 AD. So the conversion in AD is like €1 equals 4.16 AD. So this is the conversion. And so this right here, I guess it would be like around 60 euros, something like that. Let's say that this was my really, really good product that people were coming for and they were buying. But right now, most of them just bought one because there was no real value provided to them. Granted that they bought, 3 of these. So what we always do is that we bundle. We bundle and we make sure that people have the offer of buying 3, or they have the potential of buying 6. So 6 obviously would be the greatest value. And with this, they would get like 30% off, something like that. But at the same time, because they bought 6, this also came with, you get like 30% off, came with like a 250, something like that, euro AOV. And that's much, much greater than the 60 euro AOV. I'm not saying that all of the people would buy this, but just 5% buying this and maybe 8% buying the free pack for, let's say, this up here cost like 150 euros. That was the greatest value that you could get, or another really good value offer that people could get. This boosted your AOV a ton. And it's not like it's just boosting your, let's say, your 60 AOV up to like 65. No, this is boosting it up to like 80 or 85 or something like that. It's a very, very significant boost when you are paying the same to acquire the same customer. And then there are other metrics that you can implement in your store to boost the AOV even more. You can look at upsells in the post checkout. When people have already bought the product, you're not losing the customer anymore, but you can increase the average order value even more here. So you can introduce a complementary product that are complementary to the fish oil up here. It could be magnesium. And then here, what you want to add to it is a sense of urgency, scarcity. Act now and get 10% off, or act now, get 20% off. We only have this offer running for another 24 hours. After that, it closes, so act now. If they don't react to that, then try and do it with another product, or even the same product can work well. Like, hey, if you add one more of these, you will get 30% off on adding this to your order. And it's not going to add more freight or more shipping costs to them. It's just going to add higher average order value. And this is so foundational to being able to scale your e-commerce store, that you think about AOV boosting whilst you still think about how can we improve our ads on Meta or on Google and whatnot, because these two things is what is seriously going to drive leverage to your store, to your offer, and to your e-commerce business in general. So this is what we consult our clients in, that, AOV boosting, validating angles first, setting the right KPIs up here, like knowing when are we break even, what is our NCCPA, our CAC targets, what's our profit margin. And we also do the research for our clients. Like, we truly try and dive very, very much into the minds of our customers, so that we understand what angles to test next, based on awareness stages, but also based on market sophistication levels. Then we also help allocating the racehorse in the stable, the products that are really, really good at driving new customers, whilst also generating that repurchase rate and also having a higher 90-day LTV. Then we validate the offers with or the angles. We validate the content angles before we start creating any UGC. One last thing that I just want to say to retention: email marketing based on RFM is extremely potent. RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. So recency: when did your customer last buy from you? How many times have they bought from you? The frequency, and what is their lifetime value? These people are then segmented into different segments, like the champion, the loyal one, the promising, the needs attention, and so on and so on. You shouldn't focus on all of these. You should focus your efforts where most people are and where you have the highest returns. But this is something that allows you to speak in a more personalized way to your audience based on how many times they have bought, when did they last buy from you, and how much are they actually worth to your business. So that is something that you should definitely think in terms of in your retention. And just know these two don't work without the other. You want to have a really good retention system. You want to have a really good acquisition system, because the better you are in retention, the more you can afford to pay for your new customers. But you cannot have a good retention system without a good acquisition system. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, then you can apply to a free growth evaluation that I will personally do for your business, which is an audit, a review of your entire digital marketing strategy and your overall growth potential. And we work with businesses in e-commerce, primarily D2C brands, that are generating approximately 30 to 50,000 euros per month that want to scale to 250,000 euros per month and beyond. So you can apply for that on the website or in the link in the description to this video. And otherwise, I hope that you got a lot of value from watching this video, and I hope that you will subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future uploads. Have a nice day, and bye-bye.